I told you if you didn't listen, I'd take it out on your wrist. Hey, by the way, tell everybody who your doctor is, by the way. Just, it's a minor little tendon thing, but who's your doctor?
This is Dr. Gallisette at Passman Hospital.
Really?
He's a good old orthopedic doctor. He worked on my shoulder a while back, too.
Listen, we could have cut this off and he'd still find a way to ring the register at Coons Market. He's that dedicated. Go back real quick, Perrysville Avenue, a little bit of history of your company, you and your brother Tommy, and how this journey began, and now it's in the third generation.
Well, it was back in 1967. It was a long time ago. We bought Coons on Perrysville Avenue from the Coons family, and there was a mother. She ran the store along with Joe, Charlie, and Bill, the three brothers that they worked in the stores. And there was time for them to move on, so we had the opportunity and took advantage of it.
Listen, I'm going to tell this story. I said to him, you must have had a lot of love for this family. You never changed the name. Why'd you stick with Coons? And Joe went, we didn't have the money to change the signs. So basically, it just it stayed that way, and it's grown that way.
Well, it's not just that. Coons had a great reputation in the area. That always ran a nice store, had a great business, and there was no real advantage to changing it. So, we were tight on money, so why do it?
That's a great line. Yeah. But they really were a big part of your life and how you and Tommy got started, too.
Well, we learned a lot from them, too, that because they had run that store since, they built that store. Mr. Coon had built that store back in 1939, and they'd had a store down the street before that even. So they had been in the area a long time, been in business a long time. So, to just disregard what brought them there and the success that they had and what gave them the success, that would be foolish to ignore that. So you try to duplicate as much as they were doing and then move on.
All right, now listen, the 34th Annual Spaghetti Breakfast is coming, featuring Pennsylvania's own Del Grosso pasta sauce. They're going to have free spaghetti for breakfast Thursday, September 21st from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. as Larry and John broadcast live from the beautiful Heinz Hall Garden Plaza, sponsored by Coons Quality Foods. We're grateful for that. Saloni's bread. I am going to hijack one of their trucks one day because I want some of that fresh bread. I saw one earlier today, and when I see a truck that has Saloni's on it, I just want to have a meatball sandwich or a plate of pasta.
But you have to take all the bread?
No.
Isn't a loaf or two enough?
Hey, speaking of taking it all, I could always have a great Lamagna cheese product. Rudy Lamagna, good friend, Vandergrift. I've been there. Talk about him.
Well, we've been with Lamagna product for a long, long time. I mean, I can remember Lamagna Dragota back whenever my dad had a wholesale produce truck that he used to deliver out through East Liberty. And the Lamagna family was in business at that time making ricotta. So
Really?
Yeah, sure. That's how far. Back then, there was like two basic ricotta brands in Pittsburgh. There was Lamagna and Derizzo. So you either had one or the other in the stores.
Hey, by the way, coming up Wednesday night, we're going to be at the Club of Shadow Lakes. He and I and Jimmy Sinceri talking about some of the legendary Italian products that first came over to this country. And DiCecco pasta is right up there.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I've told you the story where...
I know, this is good.
But this is back like, whenever the Angel Doria sang, 1957, 58, something like that?
Right.
That Jimmy's dad, Tony, he was, he had a long face. What's the matter, Tony? He says, you didn't hear it, did you? I said, what? He says, the Angel Doria sank. I said, why? Did you have people on there? He says, no. He said, I lost a whole shipment of DiCecco pasta, a whole container. So he said, we won't have any DiCecco pasta for the next month. I read an article a couple of weeks ago where there was a named chef that one of the top chefs throughout the country, and he recommended that there were only three main pastas throughout the United States that were worth buying, and the top one was DiCecco. So that's what kind of reputation DiCecco has. And Anthony had told me way back then, Tony Sinceri, that like they at that time, I don't know about today, but back then they were the area distributor for DiCecco. No contract, but the way it is in Italy is that once you line up as a supplier, that's all. They'll only sell to you in the whole area. So that's probably changed by now, but that's the way it was back in the late 50s.
That's pretty good stuff. Also, yeah. Ernie Ritchie Sausage took after his dad and mom, and he's still making that great sausage.
Ernie's good people. Yeah.
He used to stop by with sausage all the time. Have you seen him in a while?
I haven't seen. The only time I see Ernie is at the Seven Fishes.
He's big. He's big now. He's traveling global.
You don't mean physical big?
No. Okay. He's just big. Both of his sons, one a lawyer, one a doctor. So he's just waiting to.
He's living life large now.
Absolutely. He worked hard for it, though. He and his lovely bride. Hey, Common Plea Catering going to be there as well too. That's coming up. Also, one other thing I want to talk about, this is the Shell Insight thing that's going to be happening September the 27th, 28th at the David L. Lawrence Convention Center. Sean Spicer, he may want to stop by the breakfast a couple of days earlier and get himself some pasta. Recent White House press secretary, leading CEO from People, Chevron, ExxonMobil, which is their subsidiary XTO. Lots of folks going to be there. ShellInsight.com where you can find out more. You and I talk about this all the time, this Shell petrochemical plant near the Hopewell store, and how this could be the ever-changing face of the economy, bringing people back. Thousands of union workers going to be going there from the Keystone Mountain Lakes Regional Council of Carpenters. This industry could actually benefit what you do and a lot of other people do in the way of retail and merchandising.
Anytime more people move into the area, it helps all retail businesses, including ours. So, you hope for the best of it. And there's going to be, 5,000 or 6,000 families move in while the construction's going on. And then when it's all said and done, I think there's going to be about 600 family with the permanent jobs in the plant itself, with the in the new plant after it's built.
Last thing, we're doing this Sunday on the program, it's the harvest, the garden, things left over from the garden. And I remember when people would come by with bushels of tomatoes and ears of corn and zucchini and squash, lots of stuff. So we're going to come up with some great ideas for them, right?
Sure. That's the idea of the program this time of the year every year, so that people have some ideas on how to clean up what's in their garden. Give them some ideas from not just from us, but from the other callers, that suggestions on what to do with all the product that you have. So, it always makes for a good show, a lot of calls, a lot of ideas.
You get some of that Italian sliced Saloni's bread, you get some of the tomatoes that Christy talked about a couple of weeks ago, some peppers, make yourself a nice little veggie sandwich, a little layer of Heinz spicy brown mustard. That's a good sandwich.
How about nice banana peppers? You can either cure them in oil or mix them up in scrambled eggs or with sauce, with sausage.
Mm-hmm. The best is cucumbers and vinegar and oil.
Sure. Or you know what? I even like them with sour cream on them. Don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, BL sour cream.
Yeah, BL sour cream.
Listen,
there you go.
I know your product better than you, kid. Listen, you can look for me at a Coons Market near you. The great Joe Dentisi, his son Frank. And coming up, we got Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. That's a couple of weeks away. Oktoberfest. And our good friend Tom Boyle does such a great job. John Clemens, of course, in the produce department.
Well, the seasons are changing now. We're moving from summer into the fall merchandising areas, going into first cleaning up the garden, into Halloween and Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. So, tailgating, football, the season changes.
And before we go, football, Coons Cafe, this Sunday, Steelers will be at First Energy Stadium taking on the Browns. You got Pitt, Penn State this weekend. We would love folks to stop by and stock up on beer, eat some great food, or better yet, have a couple of beer and sit there and watch the game.
We'll be ready for them.
Ladies and gentlemen, over 600 varieties of beers and microbrews. Do these videos ever stop? Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Dentisi, don't miss him, Sunday at 8 on the Coons Cooking Hour on News Radio 1020 KDK. Ciao.